What personal experience helped Maddie nail the role of Julie? How did the costume designs help to unfold Julie's storyline? Who rehearsed so hard that their fingers started bleeding? And most importantly, can the actors really sing? Hi, I'm Janet. Let's go. The secret behind the show's origin. Most of you guys probably know that Julie and the Phantoms is based on the Brazilian series with the same name, Julie e os Fantasmas. See, but frankly speaking, it was only loosely based on it. Because if you take a closer look at both shows, you'll see how unalike they are. First of all, their tones are completely different. Netflix's show is more dramatic and all about Julie and her phantom friends accepting death, while the Brazilian show is a teen comedy about growing up and dealing with school-related problems. Second of all, the stories of the ghost characters differ too. The three phantoms didn't die from eating contaminated hot dogs in the Brazilian series. Nobody actually knows how they died. And the only motive they have in Julie e os Fantasmas is to help Julie navigate school drama. Even the name of the Phantoms band is different. In the Brazilian series, the band is called Apollo 81. Wow! And third of all, and the biggest difference, Julie's mother didn't die in the original show. She wasn't actually that much of a central character in the series, which makes the two concepts super different. So, if you were worried about plagiarism, you don't need to be. Netflix invented their own unique world with beautiful character story arcs, fantastic songs, and choreography. And of course, humor.
They're ghosts!
Oh, we prefer musician spirits.
Julie?
How did Netflix do it? Let's talk about that. The secret behind creating Julie.
Little crazy.
Please stop screaming!
Portraying a teenage character who struggles with the loss of her mother is a tough job, especially if you're a teen actress. Luckily, Madison Reyes didn't lose anyone close to her, but she had an experience that was very helpful for her approach to the character. My mom is in the military, and when she leaves, I've definitely had to deal with a lot of nerves and anxious feelings about not having her here, Maddie explained. When I had to be in that mindset for those scenes, I just thought back to that uneasy feeling until she came back. Sounds like a very solid and professional attitude. Another interesting fact about Maddie's approach towards creating her character was the freedom to pick the clothes she thought were right for Julie. If this doesn't surprise you, then you probably don't know who the show's director, executive producer, and choreographer is. The man's name is Kenny Ortega. He's 70 years old now, and he's a living legend. Descendants, High School Musical, and Michael Jackson's documentary, This Is It, are some of his most famous works, to name a few. So the fact that Ortega allowed Maddie to pick the wardrobe definitely means something. I love fashion and thrifting. That's my thing. I like taking trends and making them my own, because otherwise, I'd feel like I was copying somebody else, Maddie said. And you can really tell how her character changes just by looking at her wardrobe transformation throughout season 1. Remember how Julie looked in the first few episodes? Long, oversized sweaters that looked like shields to protect her from the cruelties of the outside world. Having a say in what Julie wore was really dope, Maddie said. But when Julie meets the Phantoms and rediscovers her love for music, her appearance changes drastically. She definitely became me when we finally decided what she was going to be wearing. Some of the things that she wears are what I wish I could wear on an everyday basis. And this particular butterfly look was chosen specifically to highlight Julie's metamorphosis. Seems like Maddie did a really great job with that, huh? But in all honesty, there was someone who helped her to create her style transformation. A very, very professional person who has created the dramatic backstories to Julie's costume.
Good. Wait till you see it.
Do I got a hairy chest, boy?
Have you ever wondered why the costumes look so awesome in the series? It's simple. Because the costume designer, Soyun Ah, has 20 years experience. According to Soyun, all of her previous experience was meant to prepare her for Julie and the Phantoms. Here are some cool facts about the costume designs. Luke, Alex, and Reggie came from 1995 to 2020, which obviously looks nothing like the real 2020. Though the Phantoms costumes were designed to look like a mix from the 80s and 90s, instead of just the 90s. Why? Well, because everybody loves the 80s. Especially after the huge success of Stranger Things and Sex Education. And Soyun loves that era too. Julie's wardrobe from the second part of season 1 also had a lot of elements from the 80s. The idea behind that was that Julie would want to wear her mom's clothes while she was playing along with Sunset Curve. This would underlie the connection between Julie and her mom, who believed Julie could become a great musician. Here's when Soyun and Maddie realized they needed to invent backstories for all of her mom Rose's outfits. For example, Julie's look in the series finale, when she and the Phantoms perform Stand All at the Orpheum, was designed by her mom before she died. Initially, Julie didn't want to wear that dress because it was linked to so many painful memories for her. She eventually even threw it away, along with that leather jacket and other stuff of her mom's. Here's how Soyun recalls the story about Julie's mother's costumes. She was a musician who once wanted to be a headliner herself, but ended up being a piano teacher. She had to create her own costumes. She probably didn't have a stylist, but she had the knickknacks to be able to sell clothes, decorate, and do fun stuff on her clothes. And then, all of a sudden, it struck Soyun. What if she made Julie's recital dress? And then she passed away. Nice and tragic touch, isn't it? Now what about this vest? Do you recognize it? Julie wears it while singing Finally Free. It's the exact one Rose wore at the very beginning of episode 1. According to Soyun, the story behind it is, Rose, as an artist, just drew on her vest and stuck a dahlia pin on it because it was her favorite flower. All of that artwork is something that her mom would have done. And she put all those crystals on the fringe. So, then Julie found it and wore it. And if you pay attention to the series, you'd be able to find more dahlia symbols in it. Like here, for example, on Julie's bag. Dancing with the Director. Yes, this is the director, Kenny Ortega, rehearsing with Maddie. Pretty cool, isn't it? Just to remind you, this man is 70 years old. Jesus, he's just full of infinite energy. Starting to understand now how they made it from the first rehearsal of their famous Perfect Harmony choreography. To the final result we see in the series. Cool!
Wow, we nailed that. Thanks, partner.
The actor who portrayed Alex, Owen Joyner, said how outstanding his rehearsals with the director were. That's the magic that Kenny has. He cares so much about you. If anything is going wrong, he stops everything to talk you through it while he's completely pushing you outside of your comfort zone. It was awesome. I'm a completely different person, having learned a whole new set of skills. According to Owen, they were learning the dance moves at the same time they were learning the songs and harmonies and blocking the scenes and rehearsing the acting. Sounds like an insane schedule for the poor actors. Talking about singing, can all of the actors sing in real life?
I'm gonna take you higher. I'm gonna take you higher.
Finding actors that look good, can sing, and have chemistry between them can be a real problem. That's why the genius Kenny Ortega came up with a brilliant idea. Why not cast real members of bands? Yes! All the actors who portrayed the four had previously had experience being musicians in bands. We're a band first, and then actors and actresses second, because we spend so much time with each other, Maddie explained. So the short answer to the question is, yes, they can all sing, and play musical instruments, and dance, and act. Unbelievable. The main task for Ortega was to develop the music for them with their input. And that was exactly what he did. Want to hear another thing that proves just how brilliant, smart, and sly Mr. Ortega is? Even before he started filming the show, he had huge plans for the leading actors. Here's how he described it in his interview to ET. From the very first time we pitched this for Netflix, it was never just a series. I see this as a series that has an album, that is a band that can tour, and that can take on a multitude of lives. Smart, right? Especially if you take into account that the album from season 1 became the #1 album on iTunes just 6 days after its release. Jeez! The cast rehearsed the hell out of those songs, that's for sure. Here's a crazy example of how brutal their training was at times. For Owen, his very first drum rehearsal ended with blood dripping off his drumstick. Oh, but no worries. This did not happen while he was rehearsing with Netflix, but when Owen was getting ready for his audition. It was terrifying, he tells EW. I was in LA, and I actually flew home to my drum set, and I just crash coursed it for a week, playing every day. I remember looking down and my finger was bleeding because I'd been playing for so long. But at least he got the part of one of the Phantoms, right? Hey, Do you guys believe in ghosts? Maybe you've seen one in real life. Let us know in the comments. We won't judge you, but support you. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to our channel, and just as you always do, stay awesome.